Order. Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Speaker, the member who just resumed his seat mentioned that Labor were opposed to some of National's policies, and I have to say that is right. It's the only good thing, it's the only correct thing, it's the only sensible thing he said during his contribution to the general debate. But I'm pleased to confirm that Labor is opposed to mining in Schedule 4 land of our national parks, land that has been put in Schedule 4 of the Crown Minerals Act because it is so precious and so important, and National wanted to mine it. Thousands of people up and down our country protested it, and they said, oops, we've done the wrong thing again. I am also very pleased to confirm that we don't support sacking a worker in this country without the employer having any obligation at all under the law to tell the person why they've been sacked. That's all that is required, actually, under the current trial provisions in the employment relations legislation. And what the National Government did was take away that small but very important, what I think is a moral obligation, to tell a person why they're sacked. Just gone. And the member for New Plymouth thinks that's a good thing. Well, I think it's a bad thing. Not once did he mention any plan, any strategy, any vision for New Zealand that the National Party has, because they don't have. Mr Speaker, you know, sometimes on General Debate Day, opposition go, oh, well, that's good, we've had a little mistake that a minister's made, a little policy gone wrong from the government. And they focus, the opposition focuses their entire time on the general debate around that one single mistake, one single policy that went wrong. Well, Mr Speaker, where do we start? Where do we start this week? Talk about an embarrassment of riches, as my colleague Chris Fafoy has just said. That this is overwhelmingly bad for the government, has been described by the media as the worst week John Key as Prime Minister has ever had. It is incompetence dripping from the government, incompetence rampant throughout the ranks of the National Party. No wonder their support partners have been nowhere around this week. They are hiding in every possible corner of the building. Mr Speaker, of course we've got the ACC debacle. Well, that's just going from bad to worse. It was bad enough, frankly, when Nick Smith was the minister. It was bad enough watching him cut the entitlements of injured people because he wanted to narrow the scheme and then mislead New Zealand about the financial situation of the corporation, which he later had to admit he had made up so that he could cut the entitlements of injured workers. We had people who were victims of sexual abuse who had their support cut. We had people who were partially deaf because of the excessive noise in their workplace have their entitlement cut. Nick Smith finally made so many errors to the point of writing a letter of support on ministerial letterhead about his close friend Bronwyn Puller to the corporation. He was their minister and wrote that letter of support. In the end, he had to go, but we thought that was bad enough. Well, under Judith Collins, talk about things looking good under Nick Smith. It's just extraordinary, Mr Speaker, what has happened. And she, as the Minister, is washing her hands of all responsibility. I frankly find it hard to figure out why she accepts her salary every fortnight if the best effort she can make is washing her hands of the responsibility. She got poor old John Judge up to her office. First of all, she said she was going to back him, then she thanked him, then she sacked him, gone by lunchtime. Then the poor old chief executive, he's hardly been there 5 minutes, less than 6 months, I understand. Ralph Stewart, he's gone as well, and this afternoon 2 more board members from ACC. I'm not going to make any comments about whether Mr Campbell should have been on the board in the first place. I think that's not great territory for me to go in. But actually to lose your chairman, your chief executive, and 2 board members, and the minister going, oh, not my fault. To say that Judith Collins as minister is careless would be a significant understatement. And she's the minister who, as my colleague David Cunliffe has just pointed out, in 2001, as chair of the Casino Control Authority, did the first shonky deal with Sky City to give them more pokie machines, and now the second one is under investigation by the Auditor General.
Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Ian McKellen.
I've sat here all afternoon, Mr. Speaker.